Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm from Africa Update newspaper, and we're here to speak to you on certain issues. So before we start, we'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself, because we know you're a man of many parts.
Well, thank you. I'm Dr. Emi Membere Otaji, and primarily a medical doctor, and now an entrepreneur, playing in a couple of industries in the nation's economy. And I was president Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, and I am today the second national deputy president of Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, NACCIMA, and I'm also an elected council member of the Nigerian Institute of Management. So that's just a brief about myself.
Okay. Like you said, you're the second deputy national president of NACCIMA. Can you please tell us a little about your experience? What has it been like?
Well, truth is, had been city president at Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce, so that is a bit, local to the extent of there. I'd been national vice president, which is almost like a regional. Now I'm the second national deputy president, so I'm in the presidency because I'm on the queue to be a national president as the second national deputy president. So it means that you have an helicopter view or interface with the various city chambers or with the state chambers in the country. It also means a lot because you are not just going to talk about issues or get involved in issues that affect only a particular locality or region, but more of the national and how it interplays with how it interconnects with the region, outside the immediate jurisdiction, that's the national jurisdiction. For instance, West African Chamber of Commerce, African Chamber of Commerce, and International Chamber of Commerce. As a matter of fact, only last month we returned from Geneva, where the International Chamber of Commerce held its event, the event in Geneva, Switzerland. So that's the interface we are talking about. So it's interesting. It's interesting, and it's something I've signed up to do. So advocacy, Chamber of Commerce is advocacy. It's the main thing. So we advocate for the businesses in the country.
Okay, so what will be your take on the recent economic policies of the current administration?
I think the truth is, the country, our events, the economic events, we are allowed to go on the negative trend for too long. Yeah, it was allowed to go for a negative because you don't use a goosey and planning to cook a goosey soup, and yet you think that the outcome will be any other soup, maybe reverse or they call it reverse soup, or it doesn't happen that way. So if it's garbage in, garbage out. So we've been doing the wrong things and the outcomes have been bad. So what I see is that what the government is doing is, the new government is doing, is attempting to try and redress some of the negative things that have been going on. I mean, fuel subsidy cost us huge amount of money that could be used in other social education, health, and other to fund the nation's spending in priority areas. But we're using it to give a few people in the so-called name of fuel subsidy. Then number two, the unification of the foreign exchange. Again, it's something that shouldn't be. Reason is that you now have a situation. If a former central bank governor complained about it some years ago, that somebody, because you are connected to the powers that be, you can get the foreign exchange at a cheap rate. Say then it was 300 or 400 to the dollar. 400 or 300 or 400, about 400 naira to $1, and in your bedroom you take it and sell to somebody in the black market at 600, 300, 700 naira to the dollar. So for doing nothing, just your network, the connection, you have 300, 400 naira for every dollar they've given you. They give you $1 million, you have 300 million. Dash. So that type of economy cannot, you can't keep doing something wrong and expect to get a good outcome. That's basically that's it. So what they've done is say, you know what, unify the two, the so-called black market and the CBN and the central bank official rates. When they unify, so nobody get that what they call arbitrage. Nobody gets the arbitrage thing, the net difference. So everybody gets the same price. But you know what? Because we are more of an import-dependent, non-productive country, not producing country, it means that there will be a rush for the dollars. Because we are importing instead of producing. Because we are still producing. Sorry, we are still importing. There will be a rush. So the value, the exchange rates of the dollar to the naira will be going up. That's what is happening. Today it's almost approaching 900 naira to the dollar. The Economic Intelligence Unit have said that they see it going beyond 1,000 naira to the dollar. So it will cause a lot of hardship because this is an import-dependent country. So it means we have a double-barrel blow. First, the fuel subsidy is out. So so-called fuel subsidy is out. So it means that fuel will now float. The fuel is imported with dollar. Dollar price has gone up. So that is a problem. It's imported. So we will now have, and if price of fuel goes up, it will affect everything because everything is based on transportation. You buy things, you go to market, you go to office, transportation. Even when you buy online, the delivery van or the delivery man will come with transportation. So you see either way. So you have a double barrel hit or not on the economy, and it's going to be negative. It's going to be a big problem. That is what we are having. Now back to your question on how do I see it? It's inevitable, but I think the government can do more. Because you cannot tell the people, please bear with us. You see, what I expect is that government would have said, you know what, cost of governance will have to come down. In some countries it's done, cost of governance comes down. In some countries it's done. The people earning, they say charity begins at home. So please, I'm telling you, bear with me. I am going to take heat as well. What I mean governance. So say, you know what? We normally take this specs and service specs. We are not taking it again. Those money should go back to the system. Our salaries are this. Go back to the system. Convoy of 10, 20, 30 cars. No, please reduce the vehicles. No, let the people see. They will feel it. They will applaud and say, okay, you know what, I'm taking this punishment because it's like a house. When their parents say, look, oh, things are hard, you can't eat this, you can't eat this. But when you see them eating it, you begin to worry, this papa and mama, this one, they punish me because they are eating and I say I shouldn't eat. But if they are also getting the heat, and then you also do, it has a way of making you accept the situation that, well, this is where it is, because you've got to suffer, you've got to suffer to turn out good. It's like how they say, the gold, you've got to go through the fire before it can come out to be to take away the impurities. So basically that is it. But what actions they've taken are inevitable.
Okay, so yesterday he spoke about giving some money to the manufacturers as the manufacturing sector. He also said something about the farmers. Do you think that is a good decision?
Well, I can tell you, in this country, we've had a lot of, various incentives, so-called incentives, or so-called the things have been on. But I would expect a holistic solution to the problems. Okay. Because even recently, we have the COVID-19 incentives that they give to this. They have the BOI, different things to manufacturers, to this. When you come out from there, the security man, the farmer takes the money. They say try special CBN. If you go to CBN, there are a lot of incentives that a few people who are even non-farmers or non-manufacturers are getting because they are connected to it. But even those who are getting, you get there and you find that the people, because of insecurity, can't go to your farm. What happens to that money? So it's a holistic thing. Or your man goes, he imports his things, and then most of the money goes to the customs because the exchange rates, because duties have increased and all that. So I think the best ways, good ideas, but I think it has to be very holistic. Because when a situation where you just have, it's like playing to the gallery or just taking bits and pieces, if it's not holistic, you won't have the desirable impact. And that is the truth. And that is why, up until COVID was 2020, by 2021, there was COVID incentives and single-digit loans and that, and so many things have been there. And did they make impact? No. So it's a holistic thing until it becomes holistic. I mean, you come there, and you have almost 30 taxes from state to from national taxes and levies to various states to local governments. In fact, if you are vehicle, you are going from local government to federal government, you are paying levies and all that. The money they've given you have all gone. So it's a holistic thing. I can't mention the issues. There are quite many, but just take them and holistically address. So it is not just one, because I've seen some states, make transport buses and all that. Hey, we've passed that route before. We'll pass that. Those buses in the next 6 months, you won't see any of them.
Okay, so let's go back to
you won't see any of them working, not that it's stolen.
Yeah.
Working, because we've seen it. We've seen it.
Because it's not sustainable.
It's sustainable. Whatever we are doing must be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and within timeline. And then it must be sustainable.
Okay, thank you. So let's move from the business to the medical, because I know you're a medical doctor. Now, as a medical practitioner, what you do suggest the government at all levels do to make healthcare better?
Well, I can tell you that in third world countries like Nigeria, we have healthcare is a universal right of every human being, rich, poor, old, young. And also, it's something that healthcare is a necessity. It's not a luxury. Now, access to healthcare, number one problem, finance, healthcare finance. Many people, of course, you know, Nigeria, they say it's over 130 million people are multidimensionally poor. So if we want to access healthcare, it's a problem because of finance. Now, first I'll tell you, so healthcare is finances, so they brought up the health insurance, social health insurance and all that, but it's still not, we're still not getting it right, because one thing is to say it, implementation is another thing. So that's why a lot of our people are still dying from preventable diseases because they can't afford healthcare and all that. And then some state governments, in my view, some even national, are missing. They are misplacing their priority on healthcare. First, number one, healthcare financing, healthcare funding. WHO has a minimum. Most of them are spending far less than 10% of the annual budget on healthcare. No, so that one means that you are not spending enough on public healthcare, because not every person can afford the private health facility, public. Then two, I was taught by Professor Ransom Kuti, the elder brother of the musician Fela. He taught us basic healthcare. Basic healthcare. You see what? See, if you take care of your primary healthcare system, a very functional, basic healthcare, no big equipment, no big stuff. In fact, you don't even need the big doctors. They have the community health officers and all that. If you take care of that, 60-70% of our mortalities and morbidities, that is deaths and illnesses, will be taken care of. Primary healthcare. A lot of times they don't place premium. It is within the purview of the local government, but the local government, unfortunately, most of them are not serious with it. Now, the state government and federal government have overview, oversight function, but again, not enough, because I was Commissioner of Health in this state. In our time, in 20-something years ago, we put a lot of premium on primary healthcare. A lot of premium on primary healthcare. And things what? Basic, because there was no money at that time to do the big high-end things. I have no choice. We have no choice. The first tenure of Dr. Peter Odede, there was not much money available, and then priority was on power, the turbines and the power. But things worked. Reason priority was on the basic health services or the primary health system. And it worked. Immunizations, antenatal, and all that. And then we now had now when that was on, we now also have the free medical care for children 6 years and below and adults 60 years and above. So with those, primary health care functional, and then specific vulnerable age groups, their health care needs paid for in a basic health service. We have better results. But when you do not do that and you have equipment that will not, you go and buy high-end equipment when it's like you are going to talk about university, you haven't talked about your primary school. I mean, that is just an example. I mean, take it from here. The basic health care, because without the primary, you are not to talk about the university. You are doing big, I'm not saying any particular state, please. But what I'm saying is that you must do the primary, the basic things. then let that one be solved working, then you will now, I'm not saying don't do the tertiary and secondary, no, please do, because there are the cancers and the big things will also go there, right? But the people die more from issues that can be handled at the primary healthcare level. I hope I make it clear.
Yeah.
People die more, people fall sick more from things that will be can be handled at the primary healthcare level. So if you do that, it means that you're taking care of 60 to 70% of people. Then with your extra money, you can now reinforce your secondary and tertiary health services to take care of the 30%.
All right, so thank you so much for throwing light on this. We hope that the government at all levels will take most of this or all of these issues seriously. Thank you.